From the very first day we met, we made a promise to each other, a promise that was very important to us both. We agreed that we would wait. We promised not to touch each other in a way that would lead to trouble. No hugging too long, no holding hands when it felt like more than just friends. We said no fooling around or doing anything funny in bed before we got married. It was a simple promise, but to me, it was much more than that. It was serious. I wanted to keep that promise with all my heart. I wanted our love to stay clean and pure, like a bright light that shines without any shadow. I dreamed that one day, we would stand together in front of God, holding hands, and say our vows, promising to be husband and wife forever. Until that day, I wanted us to wait patiently, because I believed that real love was worth waiting for. Sometimes, it was hard. There were moments when we wanted to be closer, to feel the warmth of each other's touch. But every time, I remembered our promise. I told myself that waiting would make our love even stronger and more beautiful. It was not just about saying no, it was about saying yes to something greater: respect, trust, and a bond that would never break. Our promise wasn't just words. It was a secret treasure we held in our hearts. And every day, I felt proud to keep it, because I knew that when the time came, our love would be real, pure, and forever. His name is Chaka. He is tall, handsome, and very charming. From the first day we met, I felt something in my heart. Something strong. It was not just love, it was like fire. A quiet, burning fire that never wanted to go out. He was kind and funny. He made me laugh even on my worst days. And when he held my hand, I felt safe. I felt seen. He told me I was beautiful even when I wore my old wrapper and my hair was not done. We met in church. I was part of the choir, and he was in the ushering team. Every Sunday, he would sneak small glances at me. I would catch him looking and smile shyly. He always stood at the back door, but somehow, his eyes always found mine. One day after service, he walked up to me. "Hi. I've been watching you for some time now," he said with that smile that made my heart jump. I laughed nervously. "Watching me? That sounds like you're spying." No, he said quickly, "not like that. I mean, I just admire you. You sing like an angel." From that day, our friendship started. We talked every day, saw each other often, and after 3 months, he asked me to be his girlfriend. I said yes. I was in love. From the beginning, I told him clearly, "Chaka, I want us to wait. No touching, no playing like husband and wife. I want to wait until we're married." He agreed without fighting it. He said he respected me for that. He said it made him love me even more. But as months passed, the pressure started. We would sit alone in my room, just talking. But sometimes his hands would move. He would hold me longer than usual, kiss me more deeply, and I would feel his body pressing against mine. Each time, I would stop him. "Chaka, we said we wouldn't do this." And he would stop. He would say sorry. And I would forgive him. But deep inside me, something was changing. I started feeling things I had never felt before. My body would shiver when he kissed me. My heart would beat faster when he touched my waist. I tried to ignore it. I prayed about it. I even avoided being alone with him sometimes. But I was in love, and love is a dangerous thing when you're not careful. One day, everything changed. It was one of those hot Sunday afternoons when the sun felt like it was sitting on the roof. We had just returned from church, still dressed in our Sunday best, sweat sticking the fabric to our skin. My parents had traveled out of town that weekend, so the house was unusually quiet, too quiet. I felt it in the air, thick and humming, like something was about to happen. I invited Cheka in. It was innocent, at least that's what I told myself. We'd hang out, talk, maybe laugh a little before he left in the evening. But the truth? A part of me wanted him to stay longer. A part of me didn't want to be alone. We went to my room and sat on my bed. Neither of us said much. The fan spun lazily overhead, doing little to chase away the heat. Outside, the world was silent, no cars, no children playing, just the distant sound of birds and our breathing. We sat there, our shoulders touching slightly. I could feel the warmth of his skin even through our clothes. Then he looked at me. Not the way boys usually look at girls. This was different. His eyes weren't just seeing me, they were searching me, drinking me in like I was the only thing keeping him alive. His gaze was intense, serious, deep, hungry. "I love you," he said, his voice low, trembling slightly, as if the words had been sitting in his chest for too long. My heart fluttered. "I love you too," I whispered back, barely able to speak. And then he kissed me. Not like before, not like the sweet, shy kisses we'd stolen after school. This one was full of fire, like he was pouring all his feelings into me. It was long, deep, urgent. It made my head spin. I pulled back, gasping, "Checker, please." But he didn't stop. Slowly, almost hesitantly, he stood up. His hands reached for his shirt, and before I even had time to understand what was happening, the shirt slipped from his body and fell quietly to the floor. Then, just as quickly, his trousers followed. Within seconds, he was standing right in front of me, completely exposed, nothing between us now but the air. I froze. My heart raced, and my mind went blank. "Checker, what are you doing?" My voice shook, barely more than a whisper, full of fear and confusion. He took a slow step closer. Then, without hesitation, he knelt down in front of me, looking up with eyes full of hope and pain. "I can't fight this anymore," he said softly. "I've tried so hard, but I love you too much. Don't you love me too?" "I do," I said, my voice trembling, feeling breathless and torn inside. Part of me was scared, and part of me was longing. I didn't know what to say or how to feel. He reached out and gently held my hands. "Then let me show you. Just once. Let me be close to you, really close. Let me have all of you. I promise, I'll marry you. You know I will. This is love." I looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time in a long time. In his eyes, I saw strength and beauty. I saw someone raw and vulnerable, someone who had been brave enough to be real with me. And me. I was tired. Tired of fighting these feelings. Tired of pretending I didn't want it too. In that moment, something inside me broke, a wall I had built to protect myself. I realized I didn't have to be afraid anymore. I didn't have to keep holding back. So I let go. I let him touch me again. This time, I didn't stop him. I didn't say no. Instead, I felt something inside me change, something that had been quiet for a long time, now waking up with a soft but strong voice. It was a warm Sunday afternoon. The fan above us turned slowly, making gentle circles in the air. The sunlight poured through the window, stretching long shadows across the floor and the walls. Everything felt calm and still, like the whole world had paused just for us. In that quiet moment, I gave him all of me. Not just my body, but my heart and my trust too. I didn't think about what might happen later, or the rules we had made before. I didn't worry about what others would say or how things might change. I only felt the closeness between us, the heat of his skin against mine, and the way our bodies spoke the words our lips could not say. When it was over, we lay side by side, breathing hard and silent. Our fingers found each other's, twisting gently together like they belonged there. I could still feel the warmth of him next to me, and it made my heart beat faster. "Are you okay?" he asked softly, brushing a loose strand of hair from my face like he wanted to protect me from everything. I nodded, my voice quiet but sure. "Yes." He smiled, that soft smile that made me feel safe and loved, and leaned in to kiss me again. "I love you," he whispered. From that day on, everything between us changed forever. We stopped hiding how we felt. No more stolen kisses behind closed doors, no more shy glances filled with nervousness. The quiet holding back was gone. Whenever we were alone, we gave in to the feelings that had been growing quietly inside us for so long. At first, it happened once. Then twice. Soon, it became a rhythm, like a secret dance only we knew the steps to. It was more than just desire. It was a deep, wordless connection, something only we understood. It was our secret world, hidden from everyone else but real and alive to us, and nothing could take that away. We didn't talk about guilt anymore. We didn't whisper apologies or count how many lines we were crossing. We just loved. Fully. Freely. Recklessly. Our bodies became another way we spoke our hearts. We weren't ashamed. We were young, in love, and intoxicated by the closeness we shared. Every moment alone became a chapter in our private love story. It went on like that for 3 months. 3 beautiful, wild months. And then, something shifted. My period didn't come. At first, I brushed it off. I told myself it was stress. School, family, life, it could be anything. I told myself not to worry. But a week passed. Then 2. Still nothing. And then the symptoms began. I was tired all the time, like someone had drained the energy from my bones. My breasts ached in a way they never had before. My appetite vanished, replaced by nausea and strange cravings I couldn't explain. My body felt different, foreign, like something was growing inside me. One quiet morning, I stood in the bathroom, staring at myself in the mirror. My reflection looked back at me, same eyes, same face, but something was off. My fingers trembled as I touched my stomach. "What if I'm pregnant?" I whispered, barely able to say the words out loud. The thought hit me like a storm. All the confidence, all the passion of the past months, vanished. In its place was fear, raw, heavy fear. I wasn't ready for this. I was just a girl who wanted to be loved, who found comfort in a boy's arms and thought love would protect us from everything. I bought a test kit that afternoon and hid it deep in my bag, like it was some dangerous secret. That evening, I locked myself in the bathroom, heart racing, hands shaking, and did the test. Positive. The 2 lines stared up at me, silent and sure. I sat down on the toilet seat, my legs too weak to hold me. And then I broke. I cried like a child. I cried until my face was soaked, until my chest ached, until the tears wouldn't come anymore. I felt like my whole world had just collapsed around me. I wasn't ready to be a mother. I hadn't even figured out who I was yet. All I knew was that I loved a boy named Chaka. And now, I was carrying his child. I told him that same night. We sat outside, under the stars, the air heavy with silence. I looked into his eyes and whispered, "I'm pregnant." He didn't speak right away. He just stared at the ground, then at me. I held my breath, bracing myself for the worst. But then, slowly, he reached for my hand. His fingers wrapped around mine, warm and steady. "I'm going to marry you," he said, his voice soft but certain. "Don't cry. I won't leave you. I promise." And he kept that promise. 3 weeks later, Chaka did something I never expected. He went to see my parents. I still remember the way he held my hand tightly that morning, as if drawing courage from my fingers. When he sat across from my father, his voice didn't shake. He looked them both in the eye and told them, plainly and honestly, "I want to marry your daughter." The room went silent. My mother blinked, confused. My father leaned back, arms crossed, eyebrows raised. It was as if time paused. But Chaka didn't flinch. He knew what he wanted. After hours of difficult conversations, family meetings, raised voices, and long silences, something shifted. Maybe it was the way he spoke with such respect. Or maybe it was the way he looked at me, like I was the only thing that mattered in the world. Eventually, they said yes. Not out of pressure, but because they saw something real in his eyes. We didn't have a grand wedding. No ball gowns or fancy venues. Just a modest ceremony in a church, the scent of fresh flowers in the air, and the warmth of a few close friends and family. I wore a simple white dress, one my aunt helped sew, and he wore his best native attire. There was no choir or golden rings. But standing there, hand in hand, saying our vows, I felt like the richest woman on earth. Now, here I am, sitting on our bed, the evening light spilling softly through the window. My belly rises and falls gently as our baby moves within me, little kicks like whispers from another world. Beside me, Chaka sleeps peacefully, his hand just barely touching mine. His breathing is calm, like waves on a quiet shore. And in that moment, I feel something deep and unshakable, peace. We didn't wait like we had promised. We crossed a line we once said we wouldn't. But love has a funny way of rewriting the rules. We stumbled, yes. But we also held on to each other when it mattered most. And somehow, even through the mess, love found us. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. Life is full of surprises, both bitter and sweet. But I know one thing with all my heart. I loved a man, and he loved me back with everything he had. We may have made a mistake, but from that mistake, we created something pure and beautiful, this little life growing inside me, reminding me every day that even imperfect love can bloom into something extraordinary.